Talk 1440 WROK.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Schmidt along with Matt Nestor and producer Tom Warner. We're going to be going out to the East Coast. It's easier to get these guys up, although I had to tug on him a little bit because they're on Eastern time, so it's 8:19 over there, 7:19 here. But I've come to grow to love this guy, Neil Kavey, the athletic director for Bridgeport Schools, and they are doing the challenge. I talked to them after I saw some things that were going on in Bridgeport, and so we have a challenge going on out in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And Neil, thanks for coming on today, buddy.
How are you, David?
I'm doing good. Let's talk about Bridgeport a little bit. You got 3 high schools right there now, and you're in a transition time for 2 of them. They're going to be changing conferences next year, right?
Correct. 2 of our schools, Harding High School and Bassick High School, will be going from the FCAC, which is the Fairfield County Conference, into the Constitution State Conference, which is a little bit more spread out throughout Connecticut and really has more Class M, as we refer to it here, middle-sized schools, and hopefully it'll kind of level off the competition factor for our 2 places.
But Central, who's going to stay in that conference, couldn't go because they were a little bit bigger than the other conference wanted?
Yeah, Central is about 80% larger, almost 2,000, and they would have stuck out in this new conference like a sore thumb. It's a really kind of unique conference, the Constitution Conference. It encompasses a lot of what we call state tech schools, where kids are going into the vocational trades. It encompasses a couple of charter schools and some of the smaller Class S schools in some of the smaller communities in the eastern part of the state. So it's kind of a diverse conference.
When we talked, I sent you the information about what we were doing here with our challenges with the Rockford City Schools. You did your homework, and there's a lot of in-common stuff between Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Rockford. Why did you decide to go ahead and do the challenges with us this year?
Well, I got to tell you, our schools for the last 22 years, when the old Metropolitan Bridgeport Conference, the acronym was the MBAC, folded, the schools in the MBAC went to different places. Some schools went into the Southwest Conference, some into the FCAC, a couple went into the Southern Connecticut Conference, the SCC, and the Bridgeport Conference was dissolved. We ended up in the FCAC. And, we ran into a whole bunch of challenges in just about every sport, with the exception of boys basketball, which continues to be a strength. But, we found out that the playing field just wasn't really level. I think if you look nationwide, you'll see that, mid-sized cities with our type of demographic that aren't large enough to support their own leagues when they go and do battle with the suburbs, have been coming out on the short end of the stick. And what's exacerbated the situation around here is that Fairfield County is probably one of the richest counties in the nation. We're about an hour outside of New York, a lot of commuters on the train, and some of these communities just have resources that we just don't have.
So how is the challenge working for you so far? We've already given out some trophies. We've named some all-tournament teams. How do the kids and the administration at the schools feel about it?
Well, it's starting to take hold. We've given out a few trophies. Girls volleyball. I tell you what's nice about it. We've given out 3 trophies, and each one of the schools has won one. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, Bassick High School did win the girls volleyball city challenge. Central High School won boys soccer, and Harding High School won the football challenge. So what we're going to do is just keep some cumulative standings through the year, and we will give an overall challenge winner at the end of our spring season. So I think that. The longer you go on, and I think what'll shine a bigger light on it in the winter, basketball's our bread and butter sport, and that'll kind of really have the challenge step out.
You know, when you look at it, sometimes you just need to learn how to win stuff before you can figure out what it feels like. And I understand you have some of the same things that some of the Rockford City schools are going through. They have, they're playing the schools from outside the community. But did your kids kind of accept what we're doing? Did they understand what the process was with the Bridgeport's challenge?
I think that's going to have to take a while, David. You know what I'm finding is that I'm going to be 60 pretty soon. So growing up, I think we had more sports fans. Kids could tell you who the center fielder for the Mets is, or tell you who the backup point guard for the Knicks is, and I don't think kids, even kids who are involved in athletics, follow sports as much as we did when we were kids. So, it takes a while to ingrain something into them, because I don't think kids read the paper as much. I don't think kids follow as much on TV. It's kind of a different. If you could ever pry these phones out of their hands, maybe they might learn a little something.
That's why we do all those social media things. We're talking with Bridgeport, Connecticut Athletic Director Neil Kavey. They're doing the Bridgeport Challenge, and they saw what we were doing here in Rockford. We talked to them, and we did a web page. We do some Twitter for that, and it's been fun to talk to some of your coaches and see some of the kids, and they're getting some honors they might not have gotten in their present conference. How does it look for the rest of the year? You said basketball is pretty good. Maybe we need to bring you up here and have you play in our classic tournament.
I tell you what, it would be, for our kids, getting them on a plane would be a unique experience. They would love that. We think that all three teams should be very, very competitive. I don't think Bridgeport Central, off of last year's state championship, will be as strong. They bring in two starters back from a team that won the state title, came back from 18 down at halftime. It was just a great win. In a packed arena up at the Mohegan Sun Casino. I think they'll be okay. I think Harding should be maybe the strongest of the three teams. But basketball is the season that kind of puts a twinkle in people's eye around here. One of the nice things about even being able to put the two other teams in a conference, Harding and Bassick, is that the rivalry with Central will still go forth because they'll be able to play each other in a non-league portion of the schedule. So we won't lose that aspect either.
And we'll have the challenge, so that'll give them something to shoot for, too.
Yeah, the challenge will, and that'll be a nice little side pocket, if you will, to the season. One thing we're really looking forward to this year on Martin Luther King Day, the Webster Bank Arena, which is a facility that sits right on the shoreline of Long Island Sound, is going to host the first annual Martin Luther King Classic.
Nice.
And it will be a 4-game series starting at noon, and all three of our teams are in it. They're playing at some of the New Haven schools, and there's a Waterbury school coming down as well. And it'll be 8 teams, 4 games, 1 admission, so a basketball junkie can get there at noon and stay until 8 o'clock at night if he'd like. And we're very, very excited about that. The arena is a great facility. It hosts Fairfield University basketball, as well as the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, which is the New York Islanders' top farm team.
Well, I can say one thing, Neil. It's been a lot of fun working with you guys so far, and I know you're doing it for the kids, and I appreciate you taking the time out on your day off, because I know how busy you are and what you've been going through. So thanks so much for taking the time, and I know you don't like the Cubs, and you're a Mets fan, so that's all we'll say. How's that sound?
Let me tell you this, okay? Number one, there's no such thing as a day off. I got to go in because the middle school basketball leagues are all over town. We have 36 teams involved in that. And one of our sports writers around here, Chris Ellsbury, grew up out there, you guys, and he's a big Cub guy. And I saw him on Thanksgiving. I says, Chris, why don't you make believe you're Theo Epstein, and I'll make believe I'm Sandy Olison, and let's get this Starlin Castro for Zach Wheeler trade done already, so we can get a shortstop, and you guys could have another young arm out there.
So that's what you're predicting. We'll keep an eye on that one, Neil.
Okay, Dave. Hey, nice talking with you.
Hey, thanks so much for coming on today.
Bye-bye now.
We've been talking with Neil Kavey, the Bridgeport athletic director. They have 3 schools, and their schools are a lot like the Rockford City schools. They've got some, you know where Bridgeport's at? It's in Connecticut, but it's right on the ocean right there. Mm-hmm. And their socioeconomic is worse than ours is. I mean, they've got some real problems there. At their football game, they had to stop it with 5 minutes to go because there was a shooting right near the stadium. So they had to play. It was on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
So they go through a lot of things, but this has been a fun time to learn, and they really appreciate it. They did the whole check on the Rockford City Challenge. So.
Yeah.
And Neil's, did you hear that trade?
Yeah. Hey,
I've been hearing about it, haven't you, Starling?
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. A little baseball. We'll talk some more basketball and some more wrestling even. We got some wrestling news here. We're taking time out. You're listening to the Stateline Sports Hour right here on News Talk 1440 WROK.